know if I was the fool or what was going on there, but it really started to like unfold for me in a total different way. And I did. I got to really find my voice within me, and I really. Good morning and happy Tuesday. What an amazing weekend I had. I think some of you knew I was going to a public event where I was speaking, and I actually shared that. Ooh, Anna is already here. Ha ha ha. She's fast. I love that.
Hi, good morning.
How are you? You're in a mellow mood too. We're both very mellow today.
Yeah, I want to hear what you were saying about your event this weekend, and I'm shutting the blinds while you're talking.
Oh, it was really cool. I had a lot of fun. It was a women's event, Living with Intention. So a bunch of us women went up and shared stories about, perseverance and going through turmoil and how we came through. So it was a lot of fun. I had so much fun doing it. You'll have to listen to I posted on Facebook. You'll have to listen.
Nice.
Feedback. Whoop.
Losing my camera today. There we go.
So today we have a really cool topic. We wanted to talk more about being a powerful leader. Yeah. And I love how so what drew you to this? You seemed like you were having this going on in your little, good morning, somebody say good morning, in your neck of the woods. So what was going on for you? And I have a lot to say about this too. So it'd be fun to hear what you had first.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about this because it's come up a lot recently with the women that I coach. Women sometimes will have families and then not be in traditional job roles, and at some point will decide that they want to go back, whether they're going back to a job or they want to be entrepreneurs, whatever it is. And right. There's this sense of I don't have anything to offer, and it fires me up really, because they have just spent whatever amount of time it is being like the CEO of the house and raising children, which...
Ooh, I like that. The CEO of the house.
It demands so much of us to be parents.
It does. Yes.
And then to devalue the life experience. And then on the flip side, to see folks who are out there calling themselves leaders and I won't get on my little soapbox, but we've got people out there calling themselves leaders who, do we want to follow them? Do we want to be a part of what they're talking about? And having that kind of, what is the word I want to use? Esteem, like that esteem within ourselves. It's the difference there between these really heart-centered people who really have been like raising human beings and other folks who are out there calling themselves leaders who, aren't always so kind or open-hearted or whatever, with integrity. That's what really sparked me to want to have this conversation today.
I love it. This actually really kind of is a topic of my own personal life. I was a housewife. I raised the kids. I did the whole, I don't know, I guess the CEO of the house. I love that title. I'll take it. And I did, though, I still worked with my husband. I actually had a business where I was in charge of all the books and a lot of the employees. So I had an element to the business as well. So I really did still have a career. Yeah. But I didn't give it any merit because it was a combined business, if that makes sense.
Totally.
I don't know if many people have that belief, but when you're supporting someone else in their dreams and their business, you kind of make sacrifices, right? You don't live up to your fullest potential in some areas. So what I found really fascinating about me in this experience is all of a sudden I was faced with divorce, derail, at the age of 40, starting over. And my kids were still young, and so I was this young parent at the age of 40 starting over and starting the world of dating. Holy cow, it was so I can relate to this because it was like everything I thought I had, this beautiful picture perfect marriage relationship, ended up not being exactly what it was at all. And I don't know if I was the fool or what was going on there, but it really started to like unfold for me in a total different way. And I got to really find my voice within me, and I really started to learn that that was the whole point, right? I mean, it was
Yeah.
minimized. I wasn't living my best self. So
Yeah.
I kind of had to really reignite it. Go
Yeah.
ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I'm
Yeah.
just, when you said find your own voice, I think that that's something that really happens with women. And I mean, I went through it too, and yet it still baffles me when I watch other people go through it. I raised my children seeing clients on the side very part-time for probably 5 years,
Yeah.
and then got back in the swing, part-time again. But I took on, when I went back in, I really started taking on way more supportive roles, like you were saying. I was just talking about this last night. Than I had in the past. I mean, I was a professional. I had my own clients. I had my own thing, and I credentials and blah blah blah. And then after I raised my kids for a few years, I just like sold myself down the river.
Yeah.
It was really crazy.
It's funny about what you're talking about is I had my ex-husband's business and my own business on top of raising kids. So I don't know why I went through this little phase of like identity crisis, but I don't know, maybe it's a really weird transition. I don't think women are the only ones who go through this.
Sure.
I think men have their own version. I think it's midlife crisis. A lot of us, what we call it, they get the sports car or the younger chick, or they upgrade the model or whatever.
Right.
I don't necessarily think that it's just women, but I think in women, we do minimize, if we've done the traditional role, and I'm not saying, I don't want to, like create any hate mail here, but in the traditional role where you literally minimized yourself to the level of discomfort, and that life actually kind of rockets you out of it, and you're kind of going, what just happened? Where am I at? It kind of did give me this sense of loss and sense of confusion that I really feel like, whew. But I'm so grateful for it. I really think it really transcended my experience. It created this really cool relation with others. Like I can now connect with women on a different level. I can connect with men and the way they see it from a, like that whole perspective of, I was out there working my butt off for her so she could stay home. I see all the facets now, where before I think I just lived in my little cocoon life,
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to kind of experience some of it.
Yeah, I agree. It's fascinating to me how we can go through a significant experience, like we're talking years or even months, but years worth of an experience, and then say to ourselves, like, whatever I just went through wasn't valuable. That's actually crazy and totally inaccurate. When we really think about it, everything that we experience in life has value.
Yes, everything.
Everything.
That's the crazy thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but we go through these periods where, and whatever it is, whether it's raising our families or certain life situations, it seemed like, but we can, in our heads, perceive that certain experiences didn't have value. And I think that, have you read Susan Cain's book, Quiet?
No, I haven't. Sounds like a great read.
It's a great book. I'm an introvert, so I was like getting on the introvert train on that one. What she was talking about there in terms of value was how, in our society, we have placed certain values on certain qualities of being. And in her book, she's talking about the value of being introverted, right? And how our society has really put a lot of value on being extroverted. So it's just interesting how our society has put certain values on certain life experiences, on certain qualities, on certain whatever it is, and then we own that, like, without even thinking about it. Really have to, every time I find myself getting to that place where I feel like something wasn't valuable, I've got to shake my head and be like, wait a minute, no, where is that coming from? Where is that coming from?
Right. Yeah, I think that sometimes there was some quote that was said recently that really sparks this for me, about how it's not the big things in life that bring you joy, it's the little things in life that build the momentum of joy. And I feel like if we don't connect to those little moments, we don't see how precious life is. We start to just kind of look, nothing really happened. Or I love it when my clients say, I'm so miserable. I really don't have anything really bad to be miserable about, but I really feel miserable. And I'm like, oh, I understand that. That confusion of like, there's nothing really, I've had a great childhood. I had a great life.
Yeah.
I have nothing really horrible that's happened, but I still feel lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
get that. So
Yeah.
it is really interesting that we sit there and we do, like you said, we minimize so much of our reality and our lives and
Yeah.
experiences that we've had, and we start to, I don't know, I feel like we look for these aha moments too much instead of celebrating just the experience, the connection, the relation, and I just love those moments just as much. Don't you think?
Those totally, those are the moments that when people, like you said, talk about their life and the things that bring them joy, that's really what they bring up.
Yeah,
That's really what they bring up. And so we
yeah.
get to this certain point at some point in our lives where we do want to do more. I was doing a talk last night, and there was a group of women, and one of them is 89. And she was talking about how, she's there at a personal development talk. Rah, rah, sister,
I know. Never too late, ever.
Awesome, awesome. And she's talking about wanting to, leave her legacy. And so, just I'm looking at these ladies and thinking about her and like, how can we all embrace our own, again, to esteem ourselves enough to know that there are people watching. We're always influencing people. To think that we're
yeah.
Yeah, we're always influencing people regardless of whether we're doing it intentionally or not.
Yeah.
So to think that, I'm not a leader, I really think that's bull, because we're all leading somebody. We're all leading somebody. The question is, are you leading with intention?
Yes. 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 I do. I think we run around just trying to be, in that accomplish, achieve, that chase
Yeah.
instead of really enjoying the balance. And I guess what really resonated with me about this topic was the fact that we don't we don't see how powerful we really are.
Yeah.
And we go through these major transitional periods. Like if you were a mom at home and now you're all of a sudden starting a career, or the kids left the nest and now what? There's so many different transitions. Or losing a job and now where do I go from here? It's not the next step. It's like learning to sit in that discomfort that I find is so invaluable, and you learn like so much about your abilities and your emotions, and
Yeah.
that's the moment where we literally get to either be supported or support someone else. Or we learn
Yeah.
to value life for the simple things, that having that job always, or being so, having the support for so long and then realizing when it's gone, you're like, oh my gosh, I really didn't value it as much. It's that pause moment. And you get to use those moments as powerful moments. You get to shift it.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
the next time you have it. Or
That's right.
relationships. I work a lot with relationships. So for me, it's like I sit there and look at my clients and how they've, oh, I don't want to date a guy like that again. I'm like, okay, well, the minute you think like that, you're pulling that in. So those
Totally.
are powerful moments, right? You just start to shift. How do you live more powerfully?
Yeah.
So I get that.
Yeah.
It's really intense.
Yeah, and becoming our own leader, like leading that. I was gonna say that voice in your head, but it's like the 50 voices, 50 different voices in our heads,
Right?
and
Which
and
one do
really,
you listen to?
yeah. I feel like I already said this a few weeks ago, but I remember a client one day. It was such a fun moment where she said, "I think I'm crazy." And I said, "Why do you say that?" And she goes, "Because there's all these voices in my head and I'm embarrassed to even tell you." And I'm like, what? Everybody's got the voices in their head. Really? Yes. But which one are you
It's which
listening
ones
to?
you listen to that make you crazy.
That's right. Exactly. Exactly. Which one are you choosing to listen to?
Yeah, so
Yeah, I
true.
feel like we're really at this place, really in society where so much is shifting, and this concept of strength and knowing that there's strength and vulnerability, for example. What makes somebody powerful, and knowing that power comes from within. Like, there's so many shifts happening right now. I really feel it on a really big, it's exciting, on a really big scale, as people are really starting to come to some new, I think, new definitions,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
around what's
Yeah,
important.
I think we've shared this before here, where I always see vulnerability has been really, it's really been sold to us as a bag of goods. I feel like, that vulnerability, we need to be vulnerable for people to really know us. And, and we're so afraid of being exposed to that level, but that's our true sense of who we are. And it's really fascinating that we fight being vulnerable to share who we really are with people. It's really a fascinating, contrast,
Yeah.
And when we think of hope, we've talked about this before, hope, it's denial of what is. And it's kind of funny that we're in love with hoping for a better life or hoping for the man of our dreams or the woman of our dreams.
Yeah.
Kind of funny because you're not being you in that moment, and it's kind of interesting how we, misuse certain things. There's a beautiful side to hope, to have hope of, being exposed and sharing. That's not a disconnected hope, So it's kind
Yeah.
of a fun way to share. And I think those I think of my powerful tools, when you think of being how to transcend and be more powerful leader is leading by example and using these tools and being willing to be judged, be perceived in a way that you weren't necessarily intending, and being okay with that, knowing that it's not you. It may be just the way they're seeing it, and be
Yeah.
okay with that.
Yeah. Would you say more about how you feel like that shows up in terms of it's not you? How does that show up
Oh,
for you
oh,
when you work with
it's
people?
everywhere.
I think that's such an important one because it can be like lip service that you read it and you're like, oh yeah, rock on. But what does that really mean? What does that really look like? You know what I mean?
Right, right. I totally agree. A lot of the times I feel like criticism, a lot of people want to give us criticism. They feel like they need to give us feedback. And sometimes it's done with a tongue, where they're like, you did really good, but and it just removes everything else before that. There's a
Yeah.
lot of the times where we mean well to support someone, but we're not really thinking or taking it in. And this is the personal perspective when you're coming out with it, right? You're not taking into accountability that the way you're seeing it or coming at it that angle, they may not be ready to hear it. They may not be ready to receive it. They may be
Yeah.
too open and too vulnerable. You have to be accountable for how you are engaging in that way. That's on one end. And when you're receiving it, you have to be open to the fact that maybe they didn't see you. Maybe they saw a version of themselves in you, and that's work that they need to heal, but they haven't figured that out yet. They're still seeing it as your problem or you're doing it. And it's that opportunity to kind of shift that and go, I see what you're saying. I get where you're coming from,
Yeah.
but I didn't really feel that. So thank you for sharing, and that made me hear, but I'm not sure if it's mine.
Yeah.
I think it's okay to be like, let discomfort be there and not try to make someone see it your way. Try to convince them that you're not who they think you are. Because
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, they're never going to see it anyway, because they're invested in the way they feel and the way they see it. They're just not open.
Right.
So I think it's a very powerful, right? It's a very powerful tool to recognize you don't have to control that. That's just an isness. It's just what it is. And I get it a lot because, blonde hair, the way I look, the way I communicate. And I start talking about all my neuroscience, and people are like, whoa. I'm like, too deep? What do you mean? My brain works that way.
Oh, that's funny.
But, or I'll share an emotion. I'm like, oh, thank you for sharing that. I really, this is what I get out of it, or this is what I feel. And they're like, yeah, where did you get that? I'm like, sorry. I refuse to minimize that, not because of their discomfort, but because
Right.
if I did, I wouldn't be showing up. I would be half myself, right? And if somebody's not ready to receive it, I'm like, oh, sorry. Yeah, I like that deep stuff. I kind of get into I know where my amygdala is. Do you know where yours are? I know what it does. Do you? I just start to really play with it. And sometimes you share something and they didn't realize that there's this whole world inside their own head that's so fascinating, and you might just spark something.
Yeah.
So why would you not, being a leader to me is not necessarily showing, but living it,
Yeah.
being it, sharing it.
Yeah.
It's more, I'm kind of the leader that likes to lead alongside someone and not in front of them and not behind them. I don't like to push. I don't like to, like, it's all about me,
Yeah.
I kind of like the idea of, oh, I get it. Yeah, I see where you're going with that. And I like to get messy with them. I like to embrace the confusion and celebrate that sense of lost, because the sense of lost is the steps away from being found again and
Yeah.
connecting to yourself.
Yeah.
So why
Wow.
wouldn't you celebrate all of it?
You just said so many important things in there, and so many. One of them that I really liked was this concept of leading alongside of somebody else. And I think I think it can be a dangerous place to get to where we think that we're the leader and we know. Because the paradox would have it that
dangerous space.
that is a dangerous space. The paradox would have it when you think you know, you don't know.
You're ignorant.
There's something you're really missing. And so I love this idea of leading alongside. And you and I have talked a lot about parenting, and I know we share a lot of similarities in that. And that reminds me of the parenting journey. And why not with clients? Why not with colleagues? Why not with people in the community or with employees or whoever it is that's around you that you're leading, lead alongside, without that chip on our shoulder that we know, like we're, like there's the pedestal of the hierarchy. However, we're in a position where maybe there's like a better word that's going to emerge for these kinds of things in the future, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Leader never really resonates with me. So I totally, like teacher, I'm always the person who's like, I love the word mentor because I'm kind of along with cultivating and growing.
Yes.
And a lot of the times my clients going through something, I'm like, oh my gosh, I so relate that. Oh, we're going to work through mine too now at the same time.
That's a part of it, isn't it?
So exciting.
Everybody growing together. And it's really how it works. I mean, just to get philosophical for a second, if there is no time, we're going to go deep. If there is really no time, if time is just a measure that we use, but really the only moment is now, and we could explain that, but just like go with it for a second. If there is no time, then it would make sense that we're all growing at the same time together in the moment, and that this concept of one person being above or below, it just doesn't work. It's just not possible. And I agree with you about the word leadership, because when you think about the word leadership, it connotes the word followers, and I don't like that idea either. Like, how can we be in some kind of like collaborative, reciprocal kind of co-creational space of growth, right?
Yes.
And yet at certain times, someone has walked a certain path a little bit more so that they can guide or something. I don't know.
I think sometimes you're just the light in the darkness that helps someone feel safe. I just feel like we're just there to hold space and to allow someone to feel confusion and discomfort without judgment. I feel like that's my total job. It's not you're doing it wrong, you're doing it right. It's none of my business. That's your internal story. My job is to just love you where you are and just be like, hey, I'm here for you. I'm cheering you on. No matter what you do, it's all good. It does not matter. It's really just bumps in the road.
And holding that space and that certainty and belief that somebody else has the knowledge and somebody else has the power and somebody else has the potential. And this, again, just to kind of get on the, kind of typical role thing for a second, this is one of the ways that women who have raised children, and men as well, but I'm just going biological here for a second, women who have raised children have such an amazing capacity. Look at our bodies.
Yeah.
We hold the space for the growth of a human being.
We are designed to do so. Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And I get goosebumps when you say that. But you know what's really cool about this superpower? I mean, we all have it. We're gifted. Our birthright is unconditional love. I truly believe that we are all designed and can cultivate relationships with unconditional love. Where we mess it up is we try to define and interpret love instead of receive it. And we start to love because we put strings around it, or, we try to restrict it. And I think of that little bird in the hand, that beautiful little bird, and someone squeezing the bird, I gotta hold it, I gotta hold it, it's gonna run away, it's gonna fly away. You just let go, the bird stays on free will. That to me is a great representation of unconditional love. You love someone because of the experience, not because they're doing something for you or providing the experience for you. It's collaborative and compassionate. It's beautiful. I love that word. It's my favorite word.
Mm.
I live with that word. It's just, yeah.
I love how you described that. That's really, really beautiful. It's something that so many people strive for, which is kind of a funny way to put it, to strive for unconditional love. And it is our birthright, and we do strive for it. And it's like walking around with a blindfold on, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
It's right there.
Yeah. It's everyone's birthright. It's fascinating. And it actually sometimes makes me super sad because I know the possibility, and they're the only ones restricting it from themselves, and they just don't see that yet.
Yeah.
And I get it. I get it. We're so programmed, and we're so in belief of the whole. After studying all neuroscience, I will tell you it's natural that we do reject it because it's survival behavior.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that stinking little amygdala is doing its job very well.
Yeah.
But we don't have, we don't become aware of our anxieties and our depression in a sense that's really in truth or in balance. We make it a crutch. I love people for doing this because there's a love-hate relationship. We label stuff and then we get stuck in it.
Totally.
Love is that we understand, and the labels needed to help understand, but then we stay there. We stop growing. We live to we live to the limitation versus beyond it.
Yeah.
And it's so sad because what's possible is that this is the starting point, not the stopping point. I have depression. Okay, well, you're experiencing depression. You don't have depression, or we have, it's really, I mean, you have blonde hair. That's about as far as you go, but it's really hard. I think people identify with these crutches, and because they become comfortable, they become understood and accepted, and we block it. So